Right, welcome to the channel. This is the first video of what's likely going to be at least a couple part series. So I'm going to be looking at some symbolism, decoding it, and I won't be date setting per se, but I do believe I have found the last moon and the last phase within that moon before the rapture. So before I get into anything, I'll just start with a quick and simple gospel. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So that's really all you have to do. You just believe in his sacrifice on the cross, and you're saved. Once saved, always saved, and there's no works that you need to do. It's all him, and none of it's you, and all you have to do is believe. It's a free gift. So the first thing I'm going to look at here is, firstly, I'll have to thank the channel Raw Repent, who got me onto this verse, and after reading this verse, it really just unlocked all of the symbolism for me, and I felt inclined just to make my own video, because I want to get this out there and show people. So I'll read the verse here. Joel chapter 2, verse 30. The sun shall be turned into darkness, which is a solar eclipse, and the moon into blood, obviously a blood moon, before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. So previously I was aware of the blood moon or lunar eclipse symbolism within movies like Leave the World Behind, I, Pet Goat, etc. However, I believed what they were showing us was things that could be applicable to like the tribulation saints and having the rapture before all of the symbolism is fulfilled. But the more time goes on, I believe we are going to see pretty well all of this symbolism just before our departure. So I think the blood moon will become of great importance. Actually, I know it will become of great importance after analyzing the symbolism. But the first part here, the sun shall be turned into darkness. I believe this is the wedding ring eclipse that occurred on October 2nd, 2024. And I'll show you in iPad Goat here exactly why I believe that is. So if you're not familiar with this video, it's a 7.5 minute long video, but it's incredibly symbolic. You could probably get a PhD in studying this video. It's so symbolically dense. If you want to know how deep the rabbit hole really goes, take a look at the Exalted Lamb One's channel. He shows you how deep the symbolism really is and everything here. But on this channel, I'm going to try and keep everything very, very obvious, and we're not going to go into anything that's too convoluted or detailed. I just want to cover the obvious symbolism, because I think there's a great deal of it, and we won't need to go too much deeper than that. So what I believe is being shown here is obviously a solar eclipse here with this ring. I believe she is symbolizing the moon, and the ring symbolizing the eclipse here appears to be made of honey. And with the honey, with combination with the apple here, points to the Jewish holiday, Feast of Trumpets, or Rosh Hashanah, as it's called. So there was the wedding ring eclipse just over Easter Island, which occurred on Feast of Trumpets, October 2nd. So out of the entire video of iPad Go 2, I believe this is the most solid marker of time that we possibly have, is this right here. And behind her you have these 12 figures, which I believe are symbolizing the full moons throughout the year. While I don't believe it is the Gregorian calendar, which is our standard calendar, I have reason to believe that this is the Julian calendar. Because if you look, you have a blue moon right here, these two conjoined heads, which are two full moons within the same month. And you have what looks like a blood moon here with a little bit of red lighting on this one guy right here. So if this were the Gregorian calendar, you would not have this blue moon. So I believe this is the Julian calendar. And if you had the old Roman calendar, this blood moon would have been conjoined here. So that's what I believe is being shown here. And if you look at the figures in the back, you have this rabbit with this gun, or this bullet hole in its ear, and I'm sure most people can figure out what exactly is being shown there. And with the stag in the back, I believe, so the October full moon is called the Hunter's Moon. So I think that's what could be being shown here with the stag and the rabbit in the back. And the rabbit as well could be pointing to where the wedding ring eclipse reached its total eclipse, which I think was over Easter Island. So that's what could be being shown here with the rabbit. But I'll just play this scene here. I don't think I'll get copyrighted for the sound on this one. So the apple rolls across the floor and splits open into a lily that blooms. We won't go into too much depth with this aspect because it's not the topic of the video, but I believe the apple here, sorry, is representing Mercury, which if you look on Stellarium, I'll go there right now actually. Let's go to October 2nd. And if you look, you're about to have the eclipse here with the moon and the sun, and Mercury is right there alongside it. And that's in the constellation of Virgo. So in the video, the apple rolls across the floor. So this is symbolizing time passing and the journey of Mercury. So the time it takes for it to roll across the floor is, how do I get this out of the way? Sorry, is about 5 to 6 seconds, and the number of tiles it rolls across is 22 to 23. So if you assume the seconds are months and the tiles are weeks, you arrive at pretty much the same thing, and this will take us to around the early to middle of March. And the apple splitting here could be symbolizing the dividing of Israel and the fleur-de-lis, the flowering of the lily, the rise of the Antichrist. So I'm not going to confirm too much here, but that's just my thoughts, but that's not really the topic of the video. But I'll move on to the next part here, which is in fact the topic of the video. So before we look at the first video, which will be, I'll have to pull it up here actually. Let's go. Sorry guys. It'll be this music video called Marilyn Monroe by Pharrell Williams. But before we watch it, I'm just going to show you the 4 important aspects of symbolism that we're going to be seeing in this video. So there's 4 moons that you'll see symbolized in this video, which we'll call our 4 witnesses, kind of like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So the first one is a black moon. So a black moon is when there are 2 new moons within the same month. This happened in December 2024. So the second new moon happened on December 30th, 2024. That is our black moon. And the next one, that's our first witness. Our second witness is a blue wolf moon. So a blue moon is when there are 2 full moons on the same calendar month, and this one occurred on the Julian calendar. And the full moon within January is called a wolf moon. So that is our blue wolf moon. That's our second witness. And our third witness is the snow moon, which is the February moon. And this is you'll see this symbolism in Leave the World Behind. This is called or symbolized as the white lion. So we'll go to Stellarium real quick here. And we'll go to February 12th when we have that full moon. And the reason why it's symbolized as the white lion is that full moon is in the constellation of Leo, the lion. So there's your white lion. And that's our third witness. Our fourth witness is by far the most important, and this is the one that really just unlocked all of the symbolism for me. So this is the blue blood moon. It is blue on the old Roman calendar, which is a pretty obscure calendar. And you would think it's obscure enough that they wouldn't use it. But I'll show you why I believe this blue blood moon is a nod to the old Roman calendar. So blood moon is when there's a lunar eclipse, and this is a complete lunar eclipse. And as well, the March full moon is called a worm moon, funny enough, and this occurs on March 14th. So I'll show you why I believe that they do know that it is a blue moon. So there's this Blue Ghost Mission 1, which launched on the 15th of January. And this is to photograph the lunar eclipse, which is occurring in March, and it's funny enough called the Blue Ghost Mission. So I think this is a nod to, in fact, that they do know that it is a blue moon on the old Roman calendar. So we'll go to the first video here, and I'll just play it a little bit. This video is, I picked this first because the symbolism is very, very, very obvious. When you know what you're looking for, you'll see it right away, and you'll have no doubt in your mind. So there's very little on this channel that I'm going to show that is complicated or convoluted. Everything's going to be very obvious and very easy to see. So, first scene here. You'll notice that everything is purple. He's wearing a purple hat, and the color of his hat is significant throughout this whole video. And you have this girl here who's symbolizing the bride of Christ, or the church. Probably turn off the sound so I don't get copyrighted. And she disappears, raptured. So what you would kind of take away from this scene is, oh, the rapture is going to occur on the full moon, but I'll just forward to later on in this video to show you why that's not the case. So in this scene here, they show you that it is not, or they show you the real moon phase here. So even though I don't think I covered this, but yeah, why is everything purple? So the purple aspect is when you take blue and red and combine them, it's purple. So you'll see this in other videos that I'll cover, but anything that's symbolized with purple is generally just the blue blood moon that they're showing us. So if this is the blue blood moon, this is the most important phase, or the phase nearest to our departure, which is the third quarter moon. Lit on the left side. Okay, so I'll move back to the rest of the video. So this video is pretty much just Pharrell hanging out with a lot of attractive women. that's really all there is to the video, but obviously there's a lot more symbolism to that. I'll move forward to the next scene here, which is the most important in terms of symbolism. Okay, so let's go back here. He enters this room, and you'll see here, the room's divided into three parts. So you have the white side, blue, and red. So I believe what's being symbolized here is you have the blood moon, the snow moon in February, and the blue aspect, which is conjoining these two moons. So I think that's very, very easy to see. And he's got the red hat, again, symbolizing the blood moon. Okay, now I'll just move forward to, although that was very important, I think this next scene is probably the most important in the video. So this one I found quite funny when I realized what exactly is being shown here. So he's been shot with an arrow, and he's wearing this brown hat, which has a hole on one side, and if you look, there's a hole on the other side here too. So I thought, like, what on earth could be being shown to us here with this brown hat with holes in it? Until I found, I'll just go here, the March name of the full moon is the worm moon. So I believe this is what they're showing us here, with the brown hat with the holes in it. So that's symbolizing the worm moon, so March right now. And then you have this girl coming up here with a bow, and it looks like she shot him with an arrow. So I'll show you exactly the significance of this, and this is probably the most obvious clue, and it walks us right onto where our departure is. So we'll go to, so March 14th is the date of the full moon in March. And then if we go forwards here to the third quarter moon, the moon is in, or about to enter, Sagittarius, which is the Archer constellation. And I'll touch on another funny part here. This next part, I'll have to shout out to Brother Dana, who did a video on this. So this is the Simpsons Rapture episode, which is, it's called, I think, Thank God It's Doomsday. Let's turn up the volume a bit here. And Marge is about to call the children in, and she's using a spoon on this triangle. And I'll show you exactly what I believe is being symbolized here. And this is another very obvious bit for me as well, or became very obvious. So I believe what's being shown here is if you look at the path of the moon entering Sagittarius, it's running perfectly perpendicular to the triangle of the bow. So in the exact same side, Marge is running the spoon, which could symbolize the moon. The moon is traveling in the exact same path along the bow. So I believe that's exactly what's being shown there. And that's pretty neat. So we'll go back to the video here. So they show you the third quarter moon there. And this is the last scene, which I found pretty symbolic. So he has the black hat on here, which I think is symbolizing the perspective of the black moon, which was in December 2024. And I think what he's showing you here is the 3 last moons before our departure, or before the tribulation. So you have 1, 2, and 3. And I think the kind of red balloon there is symbolizing the blood aspect of that full moon. And you have this girl here with a funny shirt on with, I'll pause it here. You would think this is symbolizing the blood red moon, but I think what in fact is being shown here is the 2 blood moons within the start of 2025. You have the blue wolf moon and the blue blood moon, and then her hat symbolizing the blood moon. But yeah, I think that's what they're showing us here, the 2 blood moons. And that's pretty well it for that video. So I'll just close that one down, and then we'll move on to the next one. This one might be even more obvious in terms of the symbolism. But yeah, that's why I'm picking these videos. They're nothing too complicated. So this one is Cannons, or Hurricane by Cannons. So you have these dudes here in red playing the guitar. This girl comes out here. She's symbolizing the blood moon. And there's this blue light, which I didn't notice this until the second or third time trying to make this video. But there's this blue light beaming down, which is very subtle. It reflects off the microphone here, and you can see it a bit in her hair. But I think that's the blue aspect of the blood moon that they're showing us here. And you have these people praying on the side, symbolizing the Christians being taken away. And yeah, another Christian taken away. I'll just fast forward a bit here. So about the midway point of this video, her nose starts bleeding, or the first third of the video. So if you weren't sure that this was the blood moon, they show you with her, she starts bleeding profusely. And then they're going to show us exactly what phase of the moon that we leave on. Okay, so there's this guy looking through his clipboard here in a sec when they got the quote-unquote hurricane. And this piece of paper gets stuck on his head for like 5 seconds. So what they're showing you here is the moon phase of our departure. Again, a third quarter moon lit on the left side. And then there's not too much left in this video here. And then boom, gone. Raptured. So that's it for that one. That one's pretty simple. And I think there was 1 or 2 more I wanted to cover here. Yeah, I'll cover this one by Taylor Swift. This one's definitely more complicated, so you'll have to bear with me here. It's not as simple, but I'm going to try and cover the simple aspects of it. Because within this video, I don't think that they're showing us just one specific time frame. I think they're showing us quite a few. Or at least more than one. So this year, I think they're showing us a blue moon, obviously. Oh geez, let's get that sound off. And then you have the sun here in the scales, which we're not going to cover that aspect. I think I'm just going to move forward to the aspects which are very simple to understand. One being this scene coming up here. Although not simple, I think we can unpack it enough that it becomes simple. So you have this kind of Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland kind of scene here. And from Raw Repent's videos, he believed that this symbolized the conjunction of Mars with the moon, but I think what's being shown here actually is still the exact same moon phase we've been shown on the same moon in the last few videos. Lit on the left side, third quarter moon. These guys over here, the blood moon aspect. She's wearing blue, symbolizing the blue aspect. And then you have the rabbit here, which I think is symbolizing the New Year's on the old Roman calendar, which occurs on March 14th, the date of the new moon, or the full moon. And then she kind of blows a kiss at them, and it's purple, similar to the purple that we saw in the one earlier video. And then the next scene here, you have the red-blue, blood-blue moon aspect here, shown in purple, and time's running out because at this point it sure is. And again here they show us the blue moon. Maybe perhaps they're showing us the blood aspect too with the red lipstick, but it's not enough to say for sure. But this is definitely a blue full moon with which they're showing us. But actually, it could be that blood moon, that blue blood moon still, because it looks like it turns into this reddish bowling ball kind of shape, or pearl, and she's wearing red. So I think this is still showing us both the aspects, the blue and the blood aspect of the moon. Okay, let's fast forward to... So this I think Raw Repent broke this down pretty well as well. What they're showing us here is actually the date of 11/11, November 11th, 2024. Because if you look on Stellarium, I'm not going to cover this because I feel like this video is going to be long enough, but you have the exact brightness or phase of the moon and Saturn, which were both side by side exactly as they are here on November 11th. So that's what they're showing you here. This could be alluding to the power outages or the 3 days of darkness that's going to come, I feel, around the time of the full moon next month. And then you have this here, which I think is showing us the blue moon, perhaps the blue wolf moon, and the black moon, and looks like getting awfully close to midnight there. And on the piano, I think Brother Dana pointed this out, 88 keys on a piano, and there's 88 constellations. So there's that kind of symbolism right there. And I think that's it for that video. So there's only one more I want to show, which is really going to hammer home the... Let's go here, sorry. Yeah, this is a short film called Journey, and I think this is really going to hammer home the blood and blue moon aspect. But if this didn't do it for you, I highly recommend going and watching the first season of American Gods, season 1. I haven't seen anything past that, but it is absolutely filled to the brim with the blue blood moon symbolism. It's in almost every scene, and it just doesn't let up. It's probably the most highly symbolic thing I've seen outside of I Pet Goat or Leave the World Behind. It's very symbolic, and it points to exactly this point in time, which is next month. So I'll just play this here. There's this old guy taking a journey here on a train. So you'll probably notice pretty early on and throughout the rest of the video, again, most of this video is purple themed, which I think is showing us the blood and blue moon. You have 1901 here, which I think these numbers are scrambled around, and you're probably looking at 119 or 29, 2nd of February. It's difficult to say what date they're pointing to here, but I think it would be reasonable to assume what they're showing us here is he's getting on the train on 2nd of February, which was heavily symbolized in a lot of other things. You got the XX here, which is the 1010 date, I believe on the, I'm not even going to guess which calendar, but yeah, this was the same thing, like 1024, 1010, 1111, pretty well everything that they symbolized throughout a lot of their other videos fell on that 29 date. So I think this is what they're showing you here. So I'll fast forward a little bit here. I highly recommend going and watching these videos for yourself, just because you'll find that there's probably a lot of things that you may notice that like other people who make these videos like might not even notice. Especially I just watched American Gods for myself, and it was just filled to the rim with symbolism. Raw Repent covered a lot of it. He has a great last video on it, but even watching it for myself, I saw so much more symbolism that wasn't covered in the video. It's just it would be almost too much to even put in a video. It'd be like an hour long. But yeah, I recommend watching these for yourself, and you'll notice some things that perhaps other people don't. Like everyone has their own things that they'll notice, their own kind of perspective, and it might open a few doors for you that it wouldn't have just by watching other people's videos. So this is the first time you see this kind of moon clock, which you'll see later in the video. Sorry. Fast forward here. And he looks outside, and you have looks like a moon phase here. I'm not too sure when this would be. If this was like the 2-9 moon phase, which I don't think it is, because that'd be too close to the full moon, but it's difficult to say when this would be. I haven't thought of that one too much, but he falls out here, and he's in this kind of this platform. And you got the same moon phase there. And it spins around. And you got this, looks like, I believe this is the rapture door. So the rapture, the door to the rapture opening. Obviously we're not leaving through a door, but you know what I mean. Opens on the 3rd quarter moon, which you've seen quite a bit throughout this video. And he goes through and flying. But yeah, everything in this video is still that purple kind of symbolism. Blue, perhaps for a blue moon aspect. And there's only one more thing I want to show in this video here. He arrives at his destination, and for some reason this clock is like spun around, like you have the 1 down here. But if you try and discern the time here, it's pointing to 3. Like if this was really 3 o'clock and it was 3:25, like this hour hand would be a little farther down, but it's a little, how do you say? I don't know. Sorry, it's late in the video. Ambiguous, that's what I'm looking for. But yeah, it's looks like it's pointing to 3:22, and funny enough, 3:22 is our 3rd quarter moon on the last one, quote unquote. So he gets off here, and I think what's being shown here is perhaps a little dark. I think he steps out, and he's really like taken aback, and it looks like everything's really desolate. So in the scene, he's on the moon here, but I think this also could be symbolizing the sudden destruction that happens upon our departure. So he's just kind of really taken aback. But that's pretty well everything that I wanted to show in the video. And yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for just bearing with me on the first video that I've ever made here and doing this in one take. And yeah, thank you for everything. There's very likely going to be a second part, and please just like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends. Thank you. God bless.